It's coming full circle in the state of Bengal, viewers. Elections in about a year's time, and the rekindling of Bengali identity pitch has begun. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, drenched in rain, today held a massive protest march in Kolkata over alleged harassment of Bengali-speaking people in BJP-ruled states. A week after Assam Chief Minister targeted Bengali-speaking people in the state, Mamata has tipped the scales by raising Bengali Asmita squarely against BJP-led hindutva pitch in a state which is headed to elections in an year and a half.
On the rain-drenched Kolkata Rajpath marched Trinamool Congress. The Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, led the march.
It is indeed a show of strength as far as the Trinamool Congress is concerned here in West Bengal. You would know that every year the Trinamool Congress holds its annual Martyrs rally in Kolkata on July 21st. But this year it's a little different. Just a week ahead of July 21st, Mamata Banerjee has decided to hit the streets. It's 16th of July today, still 1 week to go for the Trinamool show of strength on 21st of July, but it seems the Trinamool Congress already doesn't want to leave the opportunity. It wants to grasp this opportunity and an issue that has come before it, and it's the issue of targeting of Bengali-speaking migrant workers across BJP-ruled states. It happened last week in Odisha. Just yesterday and day before, Trinamool Congress MP Mohua Moitra has been tweeting about, there are workers from Nadia district who have been illegally detained by police in Chhattisgarh is what she has been claiming. There are instances of Bengali migrant workers being picked up in Delhi. So these are issues that the BJP wants, that the Trinamool Congress is trying to highlight right now. And they are on the streets of Kolkata today with Mamata Banerjee trying to set the agenda that this is about Bengali Asmita. This is about Bengali pride. It is a core, ideology of the Trinamool Congress trying to position itself as a party of Bengal, of Bengalis.
Her entire cabinet walked along with her, while people lined up midday in the commercial hub of Kolkata on a working weekday in show of support for their chief minister. Last week's comment made by the CM of neighbouring state Assam targeting Bengali-speaking people tipped the balance for Trinamool.
BJP সরকারে না খায় হিমন্ত বিশ্ব শর্মাই না খায় এভিকশন চলি আছে চলি অসমীয়া ভাষা সঁচাকৈ নোকোৱা কি ভাষা কয়তো আমি টিভিত শুনি আছো গতিকে যদি ঘৰত তুমি বঙালী ভাষাত কথা পাতা তুমি পঞ্জীয়নত অসমীয়া ভাষাত কথা পাতা বুলি মিছা তথ্য কিয় দিবা কাৰণ পঞ্জীয়নত লোকপিয়লত মিছা তথ্য দিয়াটো অপৰাধীনে তেওঁলোকে সদায় বঙালী বুলিয়ে লিখি আহিছে নতুনকৈ ইয়াত থ্ৰেটনিং দিবলগীয়া একো নাই
Himanta Biswa Sarma later alleged that his statement has been misinterpreted by Trinamool to feed its own political purposes. Led by Mamata Banerjee, Trinamool hit out at BJP-ruled states for spreading hatred against Bengalis.
ভারত সরকার একটা নোটিফিকেশন করেছে জেনে রাখুন সেই নোটিফিকেশনটা আমরা চ্যালেঞ্জ করব লুকিয়ে লুকিয়ে করেছে করে নিজেদের রাজ্যগুলোতে যেখানে বিজেপি আছে সেখানে পাঠিয়েছে তাতে পরিষ্কার বলা হয়েছে যাকেই সন্দেহ হবে বাংলা ভাষায় কথা বলে অ্যারেস্ট করবে ডিটেনশন ক্যাম্পে মানে হোল্ডিং এরিয়া ডিটেনশন ক্যাম্প যাকে বলা হয়
In West Bengal, the BJP over the past few years has had, they have been able to hold on to their vote share, even though their seat share count has gone down. And with an aggressive BJP towing the Hindutva line and likes of opposition leader Shubhendu Adhikari hardening their stance as far as Hindutva politics is concerned, it seems Mamata Banerjee has found her elixir. She has found her trump card. She wants to use Bengali pride, Bengali sub-nationalism to counter BJP's Hindutva politics. And therefore, just when there were reports that were coming in over the past 1 month of migrant Bengali speaking laborers from West Bengal. A lot of them, minority Muslim community members, be it from Birbhum, be it from Murshidabad, be it from Nadia district. The Trinamool was very quick. They were literally instant to pick this, issue up and hit the streets, and that shows the urgency.
Language identity has now become the main arsenal for Mamata Banerjee. With Indrajit Kundu in Kolkata, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, I want to quickly cut across to our panelists to discuss what is really going on in the state of Bengal. Viewers, mind you, 2026 are elections in Bengal, and what's really happening in terms of the premise that we can see develop right now is something that had mirrored in the last election as well, which is hindutva versus sub-regionalism, a fight for identity. Joining me this evening, Tausif Rahman, spokesperson, Trinamool Congress, Dr. Shatarupa, spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party, and political commentator Shikha Mukherjee. Before we cut across to our political guests, I want to move to Shikha Mukherjee first. And Ms. Mukherjee, with what we've seen today, with what we've seen in terms of political language coming in, especially from Mamata Banerjee over the course of the last couple of weeks, practically mirrors on how we saw the last election that was fought in Bengal. It does seem the premise of the coming elections in 2026 will be that, hindutva versus sub-regionalism.
Preeti, I don't think there is anything unpredictable about the fight. The core issue of this election fight, forthcoming election fight, it is going to be Muslim vote bank versus the build-up of a Hindu vote bank in West Bengal politics. We saw it from 2019, we've been seeing this build-up. And it is kind of, every time we think it has peaked, it peaks further. So there is always a new add-on. Now, what I think is interesting about this particular situation is that Mamata is actually focusing on the freedom of movement. She's not actually focusing. This procession which was taken out today in Kolkata is about the freedom of movement, which is again, one of the fundamental rights that we have, which is that people from Bengal, some 20-30 lakhs go out of Bengal, as they do from Bihar, and as they do from Assam, as they do from the rest of the Northeast, as they do from Orissa. So these are all migrant source states. They go elsewhere. And I think that is what is coming into play, which is that the Bengali has a right to go and work somewhere else. And that is an entirely legitimate fight. And I think this is a fight which is very interesting because, yes, there is Bengali sub-nationalism involved because the identification of who is a legitimate citizen of India versus an illegal immigrant, an alien as it were, is based on a language issue. It's based on which religion does this person belong to? But that's not limited to it. There are Hindus who have been pushed out as well. There are Hindus who found themselves being shoved off somewhere else. Now, this creates a problem, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. Mr. Modi is due here on the 18th of this month, in 2 days' time. He's going to be in Durgapur. It's going to be very interesting how he addresses the issue. Why? Because on the one hand, there is the old playbook of the BJP, which focuses on the Hindu vote bank versus the Muslim vote bank, the build-up of the Hindu vote bank, as it were, which is what Shubhendu Adhikari today also went to the Election Commission and said, get rid of the Rohingyas from the voters list. Now, that is one side. And then you have the new BJP president.
Exactly.
Who
Samik Bhattacharya.
who has been trying
stay with me. Shikha Mukherjee, let me just bring in the other guests and we'll dwell on it a little bit more, because Samik Bhattacharya, like you pointed out, really doesn't, has a more moderate view where it comes down to, if you juxtapose him with Shubhendu Adhikari, and we'll talk about him. So what is the BJP's intent in all of this? Because there seems to be mixed signaling, and we'll talk a little more about it. Let me just introduce the other two guests. Dr. Shatarupa, the fact is, you might call it politicization that once again Mamata Banerjee going back to, if the BJP is going back to their playbook, so is Mamata Banerjee. We'd seen that in the last election as well. But there is cause for concern, Dr. Shatarupa. You just heard the Assam Chief Minister there, and you had Himanta Biswa Sarma, who's practically said on camera that if you're in Assam and you speak Bengali, then you're Bangladeshi. There have been instances in Odisha where you've had migrant workers from Bengal who've come back after being practically ill-treated. There are instances that are, as we speak, coming in from Purnia, Bihar, where there is a contentious role revision exercise which is taking place. A lot of Bengalis who've settled in Purnia, who speak Bengali, are Muslim, are the ones who find themselves out of this entire exercise, being labelled Bangladeshi. So there is cause for concern, Dr. Shatarupa.
Preeti, good evening, and good evening to Shikhadi. I just met Tausif on another channel, so again I repeat good evening to him. Preeti, I don't know what playbook Shikhadi is talking about. BJP, for one, has no playbook, so to say. BJP has always looked at an opportunity to serve the people of whichever state we have contested elections in, as we are doing. While we are running the country, we are serving the people. So there's no, I am not going to agree with the word playbook. Now, as far as the major concern, the topic of discussion today is that, yes, it has been irked by a comment made by the Honorable Chief Minister of Assam, and he himself has very rightly, very suitably, very relevantly explained his stand. I don't want to repeat it. However, taking a line from his book, I just want to say that the contention here is not against Bengali. It is not against people who are speaking Bengali. It is not even against a particular religion. We are very concerned. In fact, I think the rest of the India is aghast at the way there are so many Bengalis who have come from across the border. And you will definitely, I don't know how much of Bengali you know, Preeti, but Shikhadi, I'm sure, will agree with me that there are 7 dialects of Bengali which is spoken in Bangladesh. And this is the intonation, the lyrics, the way they talk, the tone, the pronunciations, that kind of is a giveaway of the people who come from the other side of Bengal. Now, given this, of course, we are against the Rohingyas. Of course, we have demanded that the electoral list be cleansed, if I may use the word, of the Rohingyas, who are by no means Indian citizens, irrespective of their religion. Now, coming back to what is happening, the states that you have mentioned, if for once I agree with whatever is happening, I don't know the extent, honestly, I don't know the extent of what is happening, but you cannot blame the rest of India for having this misplaced perception that many, cafes being bombarded, you have a Bengali connection. Somebody comes out from Kashmir, you have a Bengali connection. And I'm saying this with a lot of sadness because I myself am born and brought up, read, educated a Bengali.
Okay.
But the problem here is, it is a known fact that in West Bengal, citizenship documents come astray. I mean, there's just no problem trying to acquire a citizenship document because you have.
But that's not 1 second. I want to bring in Tausifur Rahman. But Dr. Shatarupa, we'll circle back to this. Ma'am, we'll circle back to this. But, the fact, I'll come back to you. We'll circle back to this. But the question is also, if it is so easy to acquire citizenship documents, it's a documentary more on the center than the government, state government, ma'am. Because this is the same argument. And I'll tell you why. Dr. Shatarupa, it's the same argument which is being used in Bihar. That's the reason why. And you can become a voter in the rest of the country by the virtue of just presenting your Aadhaar, but there's a different playbook which is being used in the state of Bihar. So we'll come back to it because that's a contentious, larger issue. But Tausifur Rahman, the fact is, you can, sometimes or usually it is said that you can cash in a check once. The entire sub-regionalism, versus hindutva nationalism, check one would have thought was already cashed in where the last election was concerned.
Good evening to everyone. Good evening, Shatrupatji as well. Yes, we met before. And Shikhaji, good evening to you. But I don't understand when you want to start this debate, why are we talking about cash? And why do we look at some advantage kind of procession what we had seen today? I will call this procession in Calcutta today as a hak ki ladai, nothing else. There were Hindus, there were Muslims, there were Buddhists, there were Christian. You can see all of them. But my problem is only one. Why do we always see...
Tausif Rahman, they were Bengalis, right?
All Bengalis.
Yeah, so
People
therefore
staying
you
in
answered our
Bengal.
question. Why sub-regionalism? Why to cash in on sub-regionalism? Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. Make your point.
Ma'am, people staying in Bengal, precisely in Bengal, Punjab, Maharashtra, whatsoever, whether they are Sindhi, Marwadis, Muslim or whatsoever, they have to be a Bengalis, Punjabis, and first of all, they're all Indians. But my problem starts like BJP has always done dar ki rajniti. Zuban, Zaat, Paat ki rajniti. They know very well they cannot win Bengal. So what's the new tactics? Again, it's a Purana tactics, but again, they want to bring it in a new form. The narrative is new. Attack Bengal and its culture and their language, not just in Bengal, but outside Bengal as well. You tell me, ma'am, my Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, belongs from Bangladesh, Rohingya, Pakistan. Why? He is an Indian Prime Minister. He is supposed to focus on Bengal, Punjab, Maharashtra and other states in India. Why do you want to make Bengalis look like Bangladeshis? Just like when you wear a topi, he's an Indian Muslim, he's not a Bangladeshi Muslim. If you see a Muslim in Jammu Kashmir, he's an Indian Muslim, not a Bangladeshi or a Pakistani Muslim. So why do you want to attack the culture, the Bengal, the Marathis, the Punjabis or whatsoever? I see no problem. 22 lakh migrant workers are working outside Bengal. And at the same ratio, people are working in Bengal as well. You show me one instant where in Bengal, a Hindi speaking or Punjabi or Marathi has been attacked. But why we Bengalis are getting attacked? So the only narrative is same. आप हमें वोट नहीं दोगे, you're a terrorist, you're a Muslim, you're a Pakistani, you're a Sikh or whatsoever. You have to give names. Whoever doesn't give vote to BJP,
Okay.
it's period. It's period. So this narrative needs to get stopped. We need to speak on development. You want vote? 18 seats you got in before 2019.
But we heard. Okay.
Bengal people blessed you
One
with
second,
18 seats.
I'll
What
come
you
to
did
each one.
was
If you allow me to
with
bring
those
in
18 seats,
Mr.
nothing.
Rahman, I'll come back to you. You know, but like I said, we've heard this in many speeches that it needs to be stopped the last time around. And it worked for your political party fabulously well, not just during state elections, but it paid off during the Lok Sabha elections as well. Shikha Mukherjee, you wanted to now come in because we see that duality right now where the BJP is concerned. At one end, you touched upon that earlier, you have the likes of Suvendu Adhikari, and then you have the new BJP president. What is it that the BJP is looking at? To many outside sitting in Delhi, these are mixed signals.
They are indeed mixing signals and they're very confusing because Shomik Bhattacharya is talking about how he would like to see the works of three, he refers mostly to three Muslim Bengali authors, and he says that he would like to see their works in every Muslim child's hand instead of stones, because he's accusing the community of educating their children in stone pelting. So this is a kind of veiled attack. He is also talking about how he doesn't want Bengal to become West Bangladesh. And then you juxtapose it with the narrative of Sri Ram and Ayodhya, and then you have Shomik Bhattacharya displaying this Kali image at his inauguration. So he's trying to make connects at a kind of visceral level. This Kali thing is very visceral. So I think that the BJP at this point is faced with a dilemma, which is how they've seen that this sharp polarization over the BJP's North Indian version of Hindutva doesn't fit very well into the Bengali version of Hindutva and the kind of nationalist trope within which it all fits. So they're actually groping for a formula that is going to work this time because they really need to crack it. They've tried from 2019, it hasn't worked. This time, there are reports that their numbers are going to decline. And then there are, of course, reports that anti-incumbency is going to hit Mamata Banerjee very badly, and that she's going to decline. Therefore, this is a very, very interesting election that we are going to see, where
so Dr.
every side is trying.
Well, Dr. Shatarupa, so in the political lab, how is this new formula of just the right blend of Hindutva, which sits well with Bengali Asmita, be worked out? Because right now, like I said, politically, it's lots of mixed signaling and very, very confusing.
No. Preeti, I was hearing Shikhadi. Of course, Shikhadi is an extremely educated person, and I don't really know how much of worshipping she's into. I'm most surprised, in fact, very hurt by the way she said Kali thing, Kali Visara. No. Ma Kali is somebody who's very important. Somebody. She's a deity, and a deity who is the form of Ma Durga, who has come to Bengal because of Ram. Mind you, the Akal Bodhon that we do in the autumn months is because Ram worshipped Ma Durga in that season. So therefore, nobody, not Ram, not Ma Kali, nobody is just a thing for us. Jai Sri Ram, Jai Ma Kali, both are as inert as internal.
But Dr. Shatarupa, I'll allow, because you said something about Shikha Mukherjee, I'll allow her to come in and you continue right after that, because I would think this is exactly what doesn't sit well with Bengalis. I'm not a Bengali. You asked me, do you know Bengali? It's not the time to admit that you don't know a language. There can be violent repercussions to it, but I don't. But on my many travels, to Bengal, I have learnt one thing, that what you just told, what you just elucidated on how Shikha Mukherjee was wrong is exactly what doesn't sit well with Bengalis. You cannot tell them how they interpret any god or goddess or a culture or nationalism or Hindutva.
You want me to
but
continue?
Shikha Mukherjee, no, I want you to continue, but let Shikha Mukherjee come in and then you come in, ma'am.
Yeah, Preeti, thanks. I will remind Shatarupa that there was this huge row over a film in which somebody impersonating apparently the goddess Kali was seen smoking, and then there was this big row. Is our worship of Kali with meat and alcohol and all of this very addictive substances, very non-Hindutva substances, and then there was this big row. Bengal was very clear. Yes, we do it our way. Now, that exactly is the space that the BJP is confused and doesn't know what to do.
All right, Dr. Shatarupa, you may continue now. Because you said, I'll come to you. No, allow Dr. Shatarupa to come in. I'll come back to you, Mr. Rahman. Allow Dr. Shatarupa to come in. She was making a point. I interrupted her. Ma'am, over to you.
Preeti, there is no confusion. Just because I look at Hinduism in a particular way doesn't mean that Shikhadi also has to look at it in a particular way. And we believe that Hinduism is essentially Atmabodh. Whatever you feel, that you are free to worship that. But since we were talking about the BJP stage where the newly elected president said about this, that is why I said that. Otherwise, I generally do not get into.
I'm so sorry, Preeti.
Somebody's personal
clarification.
Okay, 1 second, Dr. Shatarupa, just stay with me.
Let me finish.
Okay, let you finish. Okay, let Dr. Shatarupa finish. Ms. Mukherjee, I'll come back to you after that. Allow her to have a say.
You see, my belief comes from the fact that I have Durga Puja in my house, and that Durga Puja is done in the way that Durga Puja is supposed to be done, not like the way that it becomes a festival. Now, having said that, I want to come back to the fact that people are thinking that we are sending out mixed signals. No, there is no mixed signal. You will see that the Bharatiya Janata Party believes in Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Our entire political ideology is based on the upliftment of the last man in society, whoever that person may be.
I'll come to you. Mr. Rahman, no point. I'll come to you. Allow her to finish.
And having said that, Preeti, we are the only distinction that Bharatiya Janata Party makes and wants to continue making is based on poverty, on economic lines, on financial lines.
Ma'am, you have to say. Now, allow me to bring in the... allow me to bring in the...
Just
Okay,
the
make your
last
point.
sentence. What the leader of opposition is saying is also justified because he is saying this in a reaction to the situation in West Bengal right now, where you have innumerable amount of pogroms and planned killings of Hindus.
Okay.
You have different districts where Hindu houses are identified and people are murdered.
Okay.
So,
All right, ma'am, you
again,
made your
I
point.
want to
10
come
seconds
back
are
to
over.
that
I want to
same
bring in Mr.
specific
Rahman, but
comment.
I think, Mr. Rahman, 1 second, 10 seconds. Ms. Mukherjee wanted to come in. Go ahead, ma'am. Make your point, and then I'll go to Mr. Rahman.
No, just a very small point. Shatarupa, because she gets very exercised over this, I don't want to hurt her sentiments. But the fact is, we're discussing politics here. It doesn't really matter what I do in my private space, whether I worship Durga or I don't worship Durga. Does it make me a non-Hindu, Shatarupa?
No, I never said that.
Yeah,
that is
okay.
why I said
Let's
my
get
belief
this
is my
sorted.
belief. Your belief is your belief. I immediately
We are
came back to
discussing politics. We are
Yes, we are.
discussing
That
the
is why I
use
came
of
back to
religion
politics.
in politics.
Absolutely.
We are not
That is why I came
discussing
back to
our
politics.
private
Okay.
beliefs.
No, you're
let's
pushing
leave it
your
at
way
that.
also. That also may not work, Shikadi. You're pushing
that's-
your way, that your way or no other way, that's also not right.
Okay. I don't
I
think...
believe-
Okay.
I
Dr.
respect
Shatarupa,
what
I don't
I
think...
believe. I
Okay, allow me to
respect
bring in
yours.
Mr. Rahman, who's been very patient, and he's been patiently waiting his turn. But I don't think Shikha Mukherjee tried to say it's my way or the highway. She was just, I think, giving
That's
out
exactly
her
what
point
she's
of view.
saying now. Of course
No,
I
she
get
didn't
hurt.
say...
Of course I get hurt. Because this is my belief. Just like she would get hurt if I attack her belief. We are talking politics, so I
all
came
right.
back
Let's
to
all
politics.
let's all take a step back and respect everybody's beliefs. But Mr. Rahman, you
I
wanted
hope
to
not,
come in
Shikha.
for a rebuttal. Make your point.
So, Shatrupaji, I understand you were hurt, but I was hurt as well when you targeted Bengalis as terrorists. When somewhere a bomb blast is happening, you were making a connection where
I
there's a
never
Bengalis
did.
Ma'am,
involved.
I
sir,
told
ma'am,
You can
please
also say
allow
that
the
all
person,
Bangladeshis are involved.
allow the same respect that you were shown. He didn't interrupt you. Give him the same courtesy.
I would have appreciated if you would have said Pakistanis are allowed, like connections, Pakistani connection, Bangladeshi connections, or Rohingya connection. But end of the day, this is the same second debate where you are saying that Bengalis are involved in some kind of terrorism. But never mind. But I have a question that whenever the debate starts, instead of debating on development, on Zat, I don't understand. You bring some constitution book of Hindutva, but I will not go there. But my only question to you, Shatrupaji, what have the Bengalis done to you? Why do you hate them? Why the BJP hate Bengalis? Rabindranath Tagore introduced Rakhi and gave us two national anthems, one for India and one for Bangladesh. After the partition till March 1971, those who came here, Bangladeshis, were recognized. If you want to politicize and misbehave, that's not in our hand. You have to see what happened before 1971 and after 1971. Who handles the border? The BJP who calls these people Bangladeshis. I challenge you, Shatrupaji. You should be ashamed of yourself. Who controls the border? BSF.
Okay.
Whose hands it's in? The Home Minister hand. CISF, CRPF are all under the center. Even the aviation and
All
railways
right. I
are
just
under
want
the
to give
center.
him 20
This
seconds.
is the center's
Okay.
responsibility, not ours. Are we
Okay,
objecting?
Mr. Rahman, you've made a charge. Allow Dr.
Are we
Shatarupa
objecting
to
this
answer. Ma'am, you
law or
have 20
bylaw?
seconds
Is
to
Bengal Mamata
encapsulate
Bandopad is
what you
strengthening
want to
Bangladeshis?
say.
No.
Okay.
Preeti,
Allow Dr.
I have
Shatarupa.
never, ever, I am a Bengali myself. I can never, ever be a Bengali hater. Yes, I have repeatedly said that there is always a Bengal connection, and unfortunately, there is a huge section of Bengali sleeper cells who not only accommodate the people who come across the border. Not only are they accommodated as in come and stay, come and give food.
Ma'am,
Very sad.
20 seconds are over. I want to bring in 20 Shikha Mukherjee. How do you read the political developments or the narrative that would be set or already is being set for the next 1 year, which is going to be an election year?
It's going to be an election year. This narrative is this kind of divisive narrative between between Hindu votes and Muslim votes is going to intensify, and it's a sad thing because this is an opportunity for the BJP to fight back politically on a three-term chief minister. There are issues here. There's anti-incumbency here, and this is an opportunity. But using this as their as their sort of bunker buster bomb is not going to work in West Bengal. It hasn't worked before. I don't think It's probably going
We
to
need to end the debate. I know, Dr.
Can I just
Shatarupa, you
have
want
a
to...
line here?
One line, ma'am.
One
That's
line.
it. And let's...
No, Tausif is constantly talking about development. I'm not even going to answer the personal attacks he came on to me. Development, I just want to ask one single question. He's enumerating some 20 lakhs.
Ma'am, I need to end the
If-
debate.
if-
One line
if
is
India
over. We
Today
have run
asks me
out of
answers,
time.
Why
allow me
have
to
they left
answer.
Bengal? Why are they working elsewhere?
All right.
Because there is no development in Bengal.
Everyone
So
is
we need to
working.
bring development here.
Okay, but
back in
Dr.
Bengal.
Shatarupa,
Indians leaving
you know,
India
you
right
don't want to
now.
go there. Dr. Shatarupa, all I'm saying is you don't want to go there because if you actually
Indians
look at
have left India. They are
migrant
shifting to Dubai and
migrant
US.
population of states, it's a state that you have equal partnership in, which tops the chart, which is the state of Bihar. So, and Bihar is going into elections
I'll
in 3
answer
months.
that
It's an
also if you
issue
want to.
one needs to steer clear
I
of
will answer
politically.
that
If you,
also. No,
ma'am,
I
I'll come
will
back to you.
answer
It's a
that
matter
also.
of another debate. It's a matter of another debate, and I'm sure we'll see you
Thank
on
you.
the other side of that. Okay, I appreciate all three of you for joining us. All right, viewers. Yesterday on To The Point, you had seen uninterrupted 35 minutes of a ground report that my colleague Shreya Chatterjee, who spent 2 weeks cutting across regions, not just Simachal, because somewhere down the line the word Simachal has stuck, that is the area of contention. But viewers, not just Simachal, but cutting across the state of Bihar, various regions, to find out how contentious, how controversial, and is this electoral revision exercise of roles which is being carried out in the state of Bihar is problematic as much as the politics around it. Well, once again, we have her on the show today to actually speak directly to our viewers of a first-hand reporter on ground investigating the story, what she found out. We'll also be joined by Yogendra Yadav, co-founder, Swaraj India. Before we cut across to Mr. Yogendra Yadav, who's been very vocal on criticizing this contentious electoral exercise that is taking place right now in Bihar, I want to go to my colleague Shreya Chatterjee, who is with us. Shreya, we played out your reports yesterday. They were multifaceted, not just Simachal, because there has been a lot of chatter on how it is about Simachal, especially politically, that it is about a particular community, which resides more so in Simachal. Give us a sense of the regions that you went through and what were your findings across Bihar.
Well, Preeti, we actually started our journey from Patna and we travelled from Hajipur, Muzaffarpur on the way. Then we stopped in Simachal. We spent a couple of days in Purnia, followed by Katihar. And right now, as you see, I'm still in Kishanganj. So clearly, Simachal, as you rightly pointed it out, is dominating the majority of the conversation surrounding the Bihar SIR, particularly because of the entire allegation that came in from the opposition that this is a backdoor NRC, and also the process that we are also right now witnessing on the ground with source-based information from the Election Commission suggesting that yes, there will be, there are some foreign nationals who have been identified, and on ground, Preeti, as yesterday our reports showed, that's what the BLOs are suggesting, that they are actually identifying who the foreign nationals are, be it Bangladeshis, be it Nepalis, and they are separating those forms. They are not submitting it online right now. That's what we've been confirmed. So one thing is for sure, that there is an identification of those who are non-Indians and have entered the voter roll. But if you talk about the other belts, especially the rural ones, because I
Shreya, can I,
spent some time in
just
the
stay
rural
with me?
pockets
Can
of
I ask
Katihar,
you
which
one
is the
question while I
Platform
bring
area.
in Yogendra Yadav into this conversation as well? On what basis are these illegals being identified as foreigners on Indian voting list?
Well, if you actually revisit, Preeti, there was that's what we do know, that the BLOs have been given the rights that if they find anyone suspicious and they're not Indian nationals, then they can be flagging that off. And subsequently, we did see that source-based information that came in from Election Commission, that we have got ground inputs, intelligence, booth-level officers, that there are foreign nationals in the list, and we have in
So,
fact
Shreya,
found
it
out
is entirely
some
the
of them, especially the ones
prerogative
we've
of
spoken,
the BLOs
the
now to decide whether they deem somebody an illegal.
Well, they have to flag it off, and then subsequently the process will begin. That's what we are being told, because it's not that these people will immediately not be given time. There will be time given to submit documents relevant. The reason I say that, Preeti, right now documents are not being uploaded online. That is the reason we see the process take up this much of pace Initially, when the forms made it mandatory for document submission, it was extremely slow. And BLOs have told us on record that they have seen change in order. Initially, on the app, they could not recommend a submission without forms. Now they can. So the Election Commission will essentially start the process of this foreign national identification once the 25th July ends, and people will definitely be getting their notices through the message, because some of the people whose forms have been submitted, they are getting messages that their form have been submitted.
You know, stay with me, Shreya. We're going to come back to the more contentious issues that you found, or the fact that, you know, your report on one side where Hajipur was concerned, it seemed to be going as per at least what the initial notifications were of the Election Commission. We're going to come down to that, but lots of problem areas that Shreya's ground reports have identified. I want to bring in Yogendra Yadav. I think he's with us now, co-founder Swaraj India. And Mr. Yadav, you've been very, very vocal on what is a contentious, controversial electoral exercise that is taking place in the state of Bihar 3 months from now. We've had my colleague Shreya, who's been extensively traveling through the state, and some of the issues that I would reckon you've identified are echoing on ground. Number one, of course, now the BLOs having full right to identify and flag off on who they deem could very well be an illegal. The EC definition, and you've had the government of the day that constantly comes and says that, listen, over 80% of form submission is complete. We're going to get done very quickly.
Thanks, Preeti. And thanks for the reports that your channel has been carrying out, because it brings out the sheer arbitrariness that we had always suspected this would lead to. You know, from day one, we have been saying there are two kinds of problems with this entire exercise. Number one, in principle, this exercise is illegal and unconstitutional because it is not about revising voters list of Bihar. This is about de novo writing of voters list, following norms which have never been practiced in India. It's for the first time in 75 years of Indian democracy that every single voter is being asked to apply for being on the voters list. We are not America. And because America follows that rule, America registration has always been 1/4 less than the population due. We have always followed a different process. So the onus has been shifted on the voters for the first time in the last 75 years. And second, the presumption is that you are not a citizen. You have to bring in documents. Documents could be 2003 list, documents could be your birth proof, but the onus is now on you. You have to prove that you are a citizen. These two things have never happened. So it is not merely another revision of voters list in one state. This is changing the architecture of citizenship and electoral laws. This is disenfranchisement of the kind that no country in the world has witnessed in the 21st century. This is the late 19th century stuff, not 21st century. The second problem that we have pointed out is that even the notification as it was issued by Election Commission is on paper. In reality, nothing of that kind is happening. Election Commission says 93%, today's figure is 93% people have actually filled in their form. I would like your reporter who's done such outstanding reporting, please ask Shreya if she has done it so far. In case she hasn't, please request her to do so. Find one village, please ask Shreya, has she gone to any one village where 93% people are willing to say, yes, someone came to my house, they gave me 2 forms, I filled up 2 forms, gave 1 form to the BLO, 1 was returned to me as a receipt, and I have attached the documents, photograph and signatures. Can she find one single village? If Shreya says so, I would agree with the Election Commission. The simple fact, as we know, is the following. Number one, in most cases, BLOs have not gone to the households. In fact, today a video has surfaced where a video is being officially instructed, "Gharon mein mat jao, apne ghar mein baith ke karo." Number two, in large number of instances, the forms are being filled by BLO, not by people concerned. I suspect even the signatures are not being done by the people. In a majority of cases, photographs are not being affixed, although they are required. And in an overwhelming majority, no documents have been attached. So, even the unconstitutional exercise that the EC had begun, in reality that has turned into a complete farce. I say with all responsibility that the figures being released by Election Commission are fake figures, fraudulent figures, because they do not reflect the number of people who have actually submitted their own forms. And this entire exercise is a blot on our democracy, and therefore this farce has to be stopped. The kind of documents the Election Commission insists, please ask your correspondent, does she find anyone below the age of 40 who has all these 11 documents? I mean, I'm sure there would be some, not all, sorry. Only one document out of these 11. How many do not possess even that? Now, the focus in your report today happens to be Simanchal, and I agree that this is utterly arbitrary. But I would submit that this is not the only arbitrariness. Targeting of Muslims and Simanchal is a very obvious part, I used to say, of the BJP. Unfortunately, is that now applying to the EC as well? Can we speak of the EC and the BJP in the same breath? But I would also request your correspondent to please spend one day only with women, because I submit the worst victim of Election Commission's arbitrary order are not Muslims. They are actually women cutting across all communities. Because women do not have matriculation certificate. I mean, the proportion of women having matriculation certificate is substantially lower in Bihar than men. And number two, because of marriage, they live in a place where their name did not figure in 2003. मायके में नाम था, ससुराल में आ गई हैं. They are being asked to produce certificates for, or at least 2003 voters list for their parents. And women are petrified. अरे मायके से हमें लाना पड़ेगा, दूसरे जिले से लाना पड़ेगा. So this exercise targets women, it targets all migrant workers, it targets poor, it targets illiterates, and it targets minorities as well.
Right. You know, what you spoke about, you know, the women voters, Mr. Yadav, that's something that Shreya did touch upon, especially where the border areas are concerned, because a lot of Nepalese women are married in Bihar, the border is porous, and most of them don't have the prerequisite documents. And I think that's something that she did document as well. But stay with me, Mr. Yadav, because you're also patched in directly to Shreya right now, who's still in Bihar, doing follow-up stories after her a fabulous report, Shreya, that you filed yesterday. But Shreya, I'm sure you heard Mr. Yadav, you know, who has been raising concerns. He elucidated some, one or two of them, where he has, you know, the huge reservations whether the figure that filters in goes up by a percentage every day of those who have submitted forms. Now that figure stands over 90%. You've traveled across. Did you see that on ground? Number one, that the enrollment is the villages that you went to, and it could very well be 90% in each village. Number two, Yogendra Yadav also, you know, has made allegations, which some reports have quantified on ground, that the BLOs are now uploading forms on their own. They've been given, you know, that leeway. You just touched upon that earlier, where you yourself said that it is up to the BLOs now to feed in and decide whether somebody is an illegal or not. And that in itself is contentious. So I'm sure you heard in to what Mr. Yadav was saying. What do you like to say with your experience on the ground?
Well, you know, Preeti, and to Mr. Yogendra Yadav as well, what I will say is that the figure that the Election Commission is giving is not incorrect. And the reason I say that, please watch the report that we have filed. We've clearly said that right now the BLOs are not uploading any document, neither are they taking forms with document. It's just your name, signature and Aadhaar. So that makes the process extremely simple right now, is why we see the percentage rise, so much. This thing about getting petrified, that we haven't seen in the urban pockets. The reason so, because there is also a procedure of getting your Vanshavali, which is the fact that you stayed in the village from the Panchayat office. A lot of people are actually tending to that, or a Nivas certificate, and that's the reason we do not see a fear as say. So far as receiving, people are not getting receiving in the form of another form, but in some places we have seen people get messages on their phone that their forms have been submitted. But as I repeat, the reason we see such a huge jump in number of forms submitted is because it's a diluted process, no document, just they need to upload with the name and just check the scan code, that's it. So that is the reason we see such a huge percentage right now by the Election Commission.
Dr. Yadav, because it is contentious, because in the beginning the entire attempt was that you file in the the documents along with the form. That was very sluggish. So now you don't have to fill in the documents, and most of the BLOs are uploading the documents on their own. Therefore, that figure that we see.
Yes, Preeti. So what we heard from Shreya and what you are saying clearly confirms that the original order of the Election Commission of 24th June and the guidelines along with that are not being followed, at least in the following respect. Number one, as Shreya confirms, receipt is not being given to the voters. That's a very serious thing, because tomorrow I give my form to someone, I get no receipt, and the BLO says, no, you never submitted it. That's over. My voter identity is over. My rights are over. This was the basic safety feature of the guidelines, which have not been followed. And it's not just Shreya. I mean, go to any village in Bihar. Practically no one has got this receipt back, which was the only safeguard available with the voter. Number two,
but
yes,
Mr. Yadav, Shreya says some of them are receiving a message
say, well, we have
which says your form is submitted.
A message, but that's a SMS is not that legal document which Election Commission had promised in its own guidelines. I'm just going by Election Commission's own guidelines, which have not been revised. Not a single word in that guideline has been revised so far. When the Reserve Bank of India was making amendments to Notbandi, at least they were honest and they were making amendments every single day. All these are press release and oral orders. I mean, what kind of a legal exercise is this? Where the 24th June order stays exactly as it was, not a word has been changed, and in practice everything has been changed. So, number two, if they are getting SMS, some of them are getting messages, but the simple fact remains that most of them, number one, almost no one is getting a proper formal written receipt. Number two, most of them are getting no receipt whatsoever. That's one established. Number two, on documents, that most things are being filed without documents. The Election Commission would say, yes, but we've already permitted. My question is, where have you permitted? How the rules have not yet been changed. And even more important question is, I submit my application without documents because I read your newspaper advertisement. And then after 1st August, you say, well, we did not receive any documents from you. We have put your name on the draft electoral rolls, but because there are no documents, we have no option but to reject it. What option do I have?
Okay.
That's number two. Number three, we also heard that photographs are not being put on the forms. The photograph is critical, Preeti, for the following reason: that if I do not need a photograph, if I am a BLO, and if I am told no need for any document, no need for a photograph, in that case, Preeti, why do I ever need to go to you? I can just sit. I'm a BLO. I have a register of the entire village in front of me. What would I do? Would I go to your house, or would I just sit and fill it on my own? That's exactly what is being done. It's not hypothetical. Video journalists, newspapers, everyone is reporting that घर में बैठ के BLO भर रहे हैं. This kind of a fraudulent exercise is happening in front of the entire country.
Allow me to bring in Shreya for one quick final time back into this conversation, Yadavji, because there are serious reservations that are being right now voiced where the credibility of the Election Commission is concerned. And I would reckon one thing that needs to be done today is that a proper press conference needs to happen by the Election Commission, which allays all fears which are surrounding the ongoing process. Especially, a lot is being derived out of source-based information, and that is not how the EC should function. But Shreya, you heard in with what Mr. Yadav was concerned. What do you infer if you correlate what he has to say to what you experience on ground?
I completely do agree, Preeti, that the sanitization of the entire process of submitting the form is something that definitely needs to be questioned. The reason so that, the uploading of these forms were initially a OTP-based mobile app which is linked to the BLO's mobile. However, there are cases we've seen that BLOs are just taking the form. The BLO supervisor has prepared a separate space where the form uploading is going on. Have those processes in these distinct rural villages been sanitized? Can it be assured that there will be no problem in the future for voters where there have been fear of disenfranchisement? That is, as you correctly say, for the Election Commission to answer. But these are genuine questions that actually the Election Commission must come forth and answer.
You know, I just want to bring in Mr. Yadav for one final time before we let him go, because Mr. Yadav, the fact is with this entire exercise, it's been challenged in court. You know, there are various petitions. We'll know soon on what the court has to say. But it has far-reaching implication as well, other than just the exercise, because the narrative now that is being built around it is polarizing and divisive.
Exactly, and that's the danger here, as you rightly pointed out. This is not just about Bihar. The order clearly says that this is an all-India order. Bihar happens to be the first state where it is implemented. So, even if we forget, let's imagine we forget all the practical problems, let's forget the fraudulence that's taking place right now, let's forget the impossible deadlines, and incidentally, these BLOs are not the villains of the piece. Poor fellows have been ordered to do something which is impossible. So they are doing what best they can do. I don't blame the BLOs one bit. It's the original order which is fraudulent. But even if all this was to be overlooked, let us say it is carried out properly by giving 1 year or so on. But even then, these two things, as I said, shifting the onus onto the voter, and number two, changing the presumption of your citizenship into non-citizenship, these are things which are unconstitutional, need to be challenged. Unfortunately, in Bihar, and I suspect then in Bengal and Assam, it would be polarized around the Muslim question, which it is not. It is disenfranchisement of all disadvantaged sectors of India, which is why people like me are opposing it.
All right, we're going to let it be there, because one thing that I would reckon that one must constantly underline is the immediate need of a press conference by the Election Commission of India to allay fears, number one, to answer all questions. I don't think we can really rely on source-based information coming in from the EC. That's just not on. And the second, of course, all eyes on the court. They're going to be hearing the challenge to this very contentious exercise. Appreciate you taking the time out, Mr. Yadav. Thank you for joining us.